Welcome, everybody, to Houston with a Problem, episode Bacardi 151. Oh, getting everybody a good shot there, monkey? Yeah, stretch it out. All right. Well, we had a dead cat bounce today. Things went up. Dude, that was audible. What was that? That was a big old tootie dog. Huh? What was that? Dogs are ripping farts again. What? You were never a farty dog before this dog came around. What is going on? Why? Why are you so farty? What was I talking about before the dog ripped an audible fart on the microphone? Oh, yeah, dead cat bounce. Everything went up like, 300 points, and MarketWatch declared, it's over! You can buy all your stocks and be happy again. That's not how it works. This stuff is still crashing. Reverse repo went above 2 trillion. That's a lot. I mean, when it was above like a couple $100 billion, all of us were like, the end is near, and now we're at 2 trillion. So my guess is that the Federal Reserve is like, we need to be making sure every night we store a boatload of cash in case everything goes sideways real quick. Sears popped up to 14 cents today. Okay. So, oops. Zombie stocks are real, and obviously, since this is an expert market and Sears is pumping to 14 cents, it's definitely the fault of Redditors and people on the internet and retail investors. It's truly their fault, since they can't actively trade this thing. Do I have anything else to add? Farty dogs? No? Okay, well, that's all I got for now, unless you guys remind me of something. Okay. Let's see here. Well, right off the bat, oh, sorry. One sec, guys, send a message here. Oh, shoot. Nope, I can't answer this phone call. Give me 6. I'm so sorry. I'll give you like 2 minutes of dead time. Hello. Sorry, dogs. Sorry, internet. Ugh. I was not expecting an important phone call, and they called, and I had to answer it. So you guys had did you hear him sing you a song? Did you sing them a song while they were on hold? Yes, it was such a lovely song. Yes, it was, you big dork. Okay, I was about to start the chat. Yeah, it's getting margin called right now. Let's see here. Where was I? Oh, Iggy Limon as an emissary of Earth, you can transmit 3 albums into space. What do you pick? They Might Be Giants, Flood. Run the Jewels, 2. And Stone Roses, Second Coming, but I will delete 10-Story Love Song from that because that is one of the worst songs in the entire world on one of the best albums ever made. So there you go. There's my 3. And get your face out of here. Get your face out. Go back and lay down. There we go. Okay. Where else am I? Gary the Gorilla, happy birthday, Houston. How many flights would you have to take before your luggage comes out first on the carousel? Please say hi to Mary from Childers, Australia. She loves your show and your shirts. Well, Mary, I got a green paisley shirt on just for you today. Thank you for watching. I've had my luggage come out first several times now. The key is if, let's say you go to school in a place like Hilo, Hawaii, where it's a tiny little airport, and if your luggage is too heavy, Hawaiian Airlines charges you a big fee if it's overweight. And let's say, like, you know, you have one set of summertime clothes and you got to take those summertime clothes from tropical Hawaii back home every summer. So every summer your bag weighs a ton. I learned a simple trick, which is show up extremely late to your flight, act in a panic, and the person behind the baggage counter also starts to be in a panic, and they just slap a bag tag on that thing and throw it whatever weighing it, and you can race onto the plane. That way your bag is the last one off, or the last one on and the first one off, and you will get you don't have to wait at the SeaTac airport for your bag for a long time. That's the key. Okay, man, a lot of you guys asking lots of rando questions at the beginning. Paraturn, howdy Houston. Oh yeah, I forgot to say Gary the Gorilla happy birthday thing. You guys all missed my birthday again this year. Just FYI, like all of you missed my birthday. So, Darren, howdy Houston. How you doing, bud? Thoughts on Lewis Hamilton whining about wanting to quit the race, but Merck forced him to stay out and finish getting position 5. What a wanker. I think Hamilton thought his car was more broken than it was, and he's like, you know what, just save the engine and we'll live to race another day. And I think the computer gurus at Mercedes like, nah, it's just flat tire, you can keep racing. Apparently he would have gotten position 4, but there was an engine leak, and so the engine couldn't quite go all the way. After like the second to last lap, it started leaking oil or something. But I didn't get to watch the race, I only got to watch the highlights. But oh well. You know, he's an 8-time champion. He can do whatever he wants at this point. 7-time champion? 8-time champion. I can't remember around me. I think last year was supposed to be his 8th, and then he got hosed. Yogi Torch looking good today. Just one more. What do you think about the separate earnings date from the shareholders meeting? Probably to get a couple different price actions going. If you could do it, wouldn't you? Right? I think they're doing everything they can to mess with the short hedge funds right now. So they have as many days where they release weird earnings reports and news and whatnot, and then you have a whole bunch of things that can happen and be catalysts along the way. Get people stoked and excited. GME wants to keep themselves in the news. They're going to do that stuff as much as possible. Okay. Parataran also asked, how did all this dog hair get on me? What the heck? These are brand new pants. I have no wonder my legs feel. It's just hair. Dude, how do you do this? How did you get so much hair on me? I sent you a link on Twitter. It was from Parataran, but I was curious what your best guess was on RC and plan on doing the dividend release dates. Also, your videos convinced my friend to buy GME. Well, excellent. Welcome to the party. You here to put more hair on me, dog? I think there's 2 options. One is... No, there's 3 options. There's probably 3 options. One is maybe 30 days from the meeting. That gives ample time for get out in the news, people talk about it, lots of word of mouth, blah, blah, blah. 2 is within, 10 days of the shareholders meeting. So if we vote to allow 1 billion shares to be created, they could file and have everything issued within 10 days. Option 3, I think, is they would announce a date of record that was before the meeting. So they say the date of record was a month ago. So everyone had stock a month ago will now get this dividend, at this date in the future. Those are the kind of the three options I see happening. The date of record is key. I think they want to give ample time for the date of record so that big institutions can do share recalls for what they've lent out. I think they'll want to allow those institutions to say, hey, we want our shares back, to get some like crazy price action going. And, we're up to 27% reported short interest, which is quite a lot. Which means there's more than that, because we know that those who calculate that short interest kind of game the system and underreport how many actual shares have been lent out. So we could see some buying. I'm surprised that we haven't seen any 13F's report. 13, which one is it? 13F? 13F, I think it is, from Ryan Cohen, that he's bought more. Now that we're back below $100, you'd think he would be gobbling it up while he can, because he wants to get all his extra shares too when everything goes wild. Okay. Fried Tater Explosion, aloha from Wahoo. I really like your strategy of buying SPY puts following market up days given the current market. Yeah, we jumped 300 points, and believe me, we've got more thousand point drop days ahead of us. Even this week, we'll probably get more red days than green days. That's just the nature. We're in a bear market, and we're in the middle of a collapse of that market. So it's coming. There's way more red days ahead of us. And every time there's a green day, they're going to go, oh, it's over. Yeah, everyone should go buy. And then it just falls off a cliff. And we're also still looking at massive sell-offs. Remember, last week, 2,300 hedge funds got margin called last week. Now, this margin call is a quarterly call, which basically says, hey, you've got 45 days to figure your shit out, or else we're going to have to liquidate you. So it's not an immediate margin call like, hey, you got 2 days. This one is going to be drawn out. So that means you're going to see sell-offs of assets to generate cash, especially things that are assets that can't be considered collateral towards their margin. And so you'll probably see a whole bunch of OTC stocks, a bunch of weird bonds, junk bonds, things like that get sold off, and the price will depress on a lot of those things. And the last thing they want to sell off is more blue chips. But the blue chips you will see get sold off will be sold off hard. That's why we saw huge drops in Facebook, huge drops in Walmart, huge drops in Target. Because what these guys will do is they know they have to generate a boatload of cash, and they know they got to sell off some assets. So what they're going to do is they're going to buy just a ton of puts, probably at or near the money, and then they're going to sell off. And that way they make cash off of selling everything off and crashing the price of this thing, and their puts generate even more cash. So basically win twice on those actions. And that's how they're going to keep themselves afloat going into this market crash, is they're going to be doing stuff like that. They're going to keep buying puts, and they're going to keep selling off like crazy. Tunji Afunja, is there a scenario where we could wake up any day from now and GME or AMC could have spiked more than 50% because hedge funds decided to close their shorts after hours or pre-market? I don't think it would be a decision from the hedge funds. I think it will be. I think if we see like an instantaneous rise of 50%, it's going to be from forced buying. I don't think they'll ever actively make that decision. They will avoid doing that as long as possible because they've managed to make it essentially 30 years without having to do it at this point. The only way we see huge price spikes, I think, is when they have to buy. When they're like, buy or else. And then we'll see the really big ones when the or else comes. And that or else is going to be all their assets are seized by the brokerage, and the brokerage just starts liquidating. And liquidating all their assets and then buying stock. Liquidating assets, buying GME. Liquidating assets, buying AMC. So I think that's when we're going to see the huge price spikes. We did see 50% jumps during trading, and we've seen 50% jumps in like end of day leading into after hours in the past year and a half. So, but those are all from, I think, forced buying than anything else. It was never an active decision like, you know what, we should probably just close this position. They're done. They have to do it. Excuse me. Okay. Hoshi Gaming, what are your thoughts on alien movies like Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator, and so on? Could something like that be possible or engineered, or could it be out there? I want your insights, please. I'm sure there's lots of like, dude, how is this hair all over me? I just don't get it. Like, more balls of it just keep appearing. You are a wizard, you big freak. I think having weird predatory creatures like that have to like inject their larvae into you is very realistic, because we've seen it on the small scale. There's lots of wasps that have to inject eggs into a creature, and then the eggs hatch and like eat the ant or whatever from the inside. There's funguses that do the same thing. Malaria has to like go through this life cycle where a mosquito infects you, the malaria parasite hatches and lives in your body, another mosquito sucks it out of your body, and that allows it to be passed on. So there's precedent for that. What we haven't seen is it like big giant alien creature like in the movies, but why not? You know, the universe is large, lots of possibilities out there. It also gets me thinking about Predator, because like, you know, the Predator is a hunter. Like they go hunting and they want to hunt like dangerous prey and get their trophies and stuff. But you have to think about, like, not everyone in their society has to be that way, right? These guys are probably like, you know, the dudes that hang out at Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop all the time. You know, they're always wearing like a camouflage hat. They're always talking about hunting and mudding in the trucks and, you know, their latest scope and their duck blinds and things like that. And back on the Predator home world, there's, you know, Predator paper pushers, Predator bus drivers, Predator landscapers, Predator housewives, you know, Predator school teachers, Predator children, Predator kids that are like, you know, their dad's really into hunting and they just want to play video games. I would love to see a Predator movie where it's just back in the Predator home world, and these dudes that like come to Earth and blow people away and kill aliens and whatnot, they're like the outliers everyone else makes fun of. Oh, he's gonna go on that vacation with the boys again. Oh, gonna go kill some humans, bring back another head. And there's like, you know, human hunting is murder, and people throwing buckets of red paint on the Predator hunters. I think that would be a fantastic parody movie. I would be all about it. Judd Apatow or someone, do it. Okay. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to do the intro. We got a ways in there, bam. Intro. Recovered in fur. Okay. And intro is off, and nighttime intro is off. The intros are off. Okay. They're off. Where was I? I was talking about the Predator. Whoa, I lost my... that was up there. Okay. Robert J.K. Houston, happy birthday. I think a double intro will be the catalyst for MOAS tomorrow. You're not getting one. So, you know, your trick psychology will not work on me. Protégé son, did you see the data from the Hubble Space Telescope that has shown the universe is expanding faster than what the interstellar models have predicted? It's very possible. The acceleration of the universe the fact that it's accelerating means it's going to go faster and faster and faster. Every time I look at it, it's going to be faster than the time before, even by like a modicum. So, yeah. If you guys like math, vacuum energy density. There we go. Why are you... Okay. There we go. Okay, so you can read my undergraduate paper on what causes the universe to expand. I put in the chat. So I basically think I may have solved what dark energy was back during my undergraduate years, and no one really seemed to care. But anyway, you can read that paper. There's some math in there. I try to make it as accessible as I can to human beings, but there is some differential calculus. So you can just kind of over that and understand that you don't have to know the differential calculus to figure out what I'm trying to explain. Hubble question. It's a holiday in Canada. What holidays happen in Canada in May? I have no idea what Canadian holiday is today. That guy asks Houston, happy birthday. With the share price being lower than when a split was hinted at, could the reverse split be more likely? No, they're not going to reverse split. What they want to do is they want to generate shares, but only for those who have legit shares. Because if you do a normal split where one share becomes 5 shares, then there's no difference in the liability obligation for any of the shorts. It's just that everyone's, all the price got cut by 5 and they have 5 more shares in their account. A share dividend, on the other hand, drastically increases the liability for short hedge funds. And that's, I think, what they're trying to do. They don't want just a QSIP change. They want to really just raw dog these guys, and force them to go out and buy. Otherwise, they're going to be in default. And they can't be in default on these short shares they created, because if they're in default on these short shares they created, then they're going to get liquidated. And I don't think they're going to do a reverse split, especially when there's so few shares of GameStop to begin with. Like, there's only 76 million shares, and most companies their size have 500 million to 1 billion shares. So I think they're not going to make the amount of shares out there fewer than there are now. Casey Chapman, do you think we'll see price action with the meme stocks relating to the executive order expiring next Friday? I think we're going to see massive sell-offs in the bond market. They've been playing this weird game with Chinese bonds, buying them cheap and then valuing them higher than they should be valued to meet margin. And they're not going to be able to do that anymore. So, and there's going to be no reason at that point for a lot of these bond holders to keep doing forbearance of the paybacks that all these Chinese companies owe. Right now, they do a forbearance. And they're like, okay, you guys can pay us in 6 months. Then 6 months come by and they still can't pay. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll do another forbearance. And that way they can keep this crap on their books and not have to report it as a loss. But at some point, they're going to have to admit that Evergrande or one of these other companies are never going to pay them back. They're going to have to realize that someday, and they're going to have to do a write-off. The problem is they should have done the write-off last year and gotten the big old tax breaks from it, because this year there's just loss upon loss upon loss because all the blue chips are crashing as well. So writing off these bonds aren't going to have any specific benefit for them, because they're going to have so many losses everywhere that it's just going to be more painful now. Online entity, explain like I am 5 why $2 trillion reverse repo matters. Reverse repo is when the banks have too much cash on hand. and that cash can be seen as a liability because the banks need to do stuff with that cash. And so what they normally do is they give out loans and credit cards and all sorts of stuff, and they get rid of the cash. And then if that happens during a time when there's a credit crunch, then the banks may not have enough cash on hand to survive and to pay off liabilities. Now, the reverse repo is the Federal Reserve has all these treasuries, and they force the banks every night to trade their cash that they have on hand for the treasuries the Federal Reserve has. Pull that cash away from those banks so those banks don't do something stupid with it. And so basically $2 trillion every night now is flowing from these banks to the Treasury, and the Treasury is giving them like a daily loan of these. The Federal Reserve is getting these daily loans of these Treasury bonds, and they can't do anything with those Treasury bonds. That's it. They hold them and they sit there and they all got assets, and then it trades back and they use the cash for a day, and then they do these swaps every single day. It's a crazy amount of money just bouncing back and forth for this. But my guess is the Federal Reserve wants to make sure these banks have these $2 trillion because they know what's coming with the housing market popping, commercial loan market popping, commercial bond market popping, Chinese markets, like every bubble is popping all around us right now. And they want to make sure that there's at least this $2 trillion available to save these banks when they need it, so they don't blow it on, trying to buy more Chinese bonds or something with it, because that's what they've been doing. They've had so much cash, they've been buying a bunch of stuff they shouldn't, and so they're keeping them from doing that. They're forcing them to hold on to that money essentially and not play with it. Okay. First name, last name, Houston, longtime lurker, first time chatter. Thank you for all you do. My friend Landrew wanted me to ask you your thoughts about the Diamond Hands documentary. I couldn't get past the first 3 minutes. I haven't seen it yet. Where is it showing? What service is it showing on? Because I have not watched it. I only heard about it the other day. Someone mentioned on Twitter, and I had not heard of it to that point. 40-ounce Oracle, Houston, my favorite Simpsons gag is when Homer and Chief Wiggum are stuck in a well and try to dig their way out. Wiggum says, "No, dig up, stupid." This is exactly what the hedges are doing. Exactly, yes. That's one of my favorite memes as well, is that they've been digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper, increasing their liability this entire time, and it's only going to get worse. And they do it because it gives them another day. Every time they stick that shovel down, it gives them one more day, and that's it. For your son, just my opinion, but all three of the Jimmy documentaries that came out were pretty bad. None of them quite got to the nitty gritty. They didn't really dig deep into naked shorting. They didn't really dig deep into the dangers of margin and the risks there. And they didn't quite grasp that this is still going on. I mean, I haven't seen the third one. But they like, oh, January squeeze. And then they never talked about the fact that the price rocketed to $350 a couple of times more. And that's still going on. That this is still being squozed. The squeeze hasn't squozed. It's still happening. And I wish that they had like ... It's still happening, so that people realize it's not over yet. B-ball 3710. Any indication or reservation that this isn't a dead cat bounce? No. There's still so much bad news out there. So very much bad news out there. That I don't. It can't be anything except a dead cat bounce. There's still so much more to come. We still haven't had any major institutions fail. We've had some hedge funds go under. That can happen anytime. What we're waiting for is a big bank, investment bank, brokerage, someone that is monumental to all of this just eating shit, and that's still to come. And then, we need that Lehman Brothers type collapse. Martin Weiss, good night. Enjoy Switzerland. Say my name. Say it. Say it. Houston, do you know anything about Silla Nanotechnologies building in Moses Lake, Washington, battery company using silicon-based materials? No, I don't. The only stuff I know in Moses Lake is that BMW has a carbon fiber materials plant there. I think they built with in conjunction with Lamborghini and Boeing. It's all connected to the University of Washington. But I haven't heard of a battery company. So no, I haven't learned about them. I'll have to look them up. But silicon-based batteries. Wonder how those work. I'll have to look them up. Hamfingers, Houston, do you think GME will run before their shareholders meeting? I'm hoping so. I'm hoping that there's a run this week, but probably next week, be my guess. Labor Day week was a big one last year, and I'm just hope my call goes nuts. Let's go nuts, call. So yeah, I'm hoping so. All indicators point to T35 happening on Wednesday, so we might get some forced buying then. There's lots of failure to delivers at the end of March, so I'm hoping that Wednesday, that's the day that this goes bonkers. 40-ounce oracle, the cows dropped from a pretty good height. I imagine it could bounce a few times. Yeah. But it's more like being tossed down a hill. So it's like boing, 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 boing. Oh shoot, and you just reset. You resetting son of a biscuit. Where was my highlight? There's my highlight. Okay, that's the dead cat question. People talking about dead cat. Phil Bill, is Biden priming us for an executive order extension by lowering tariffs to China? I don't know. I think the entire point of that executive order is that we don't want U.S. companies investing in Chinese companies owned by the Chinese military, because that's funding the Chinese military. With all the recent information coming out about an invasion of Taiwan being fairly imminent, and by imminent I mean within the next year, I don't think we want U.S. companies funding the war machine that's going to invade our ally Taiwan. And I think also it's in the best interest of American investors and institutions and funds and everyone else to perhaps not send money to a country that will never pay you back. So don't buy bonds from anything Chinese, because they're not going to pay you back. So don't sink trillions of dollars of American money into the Chinese economy that you will never get back. Don't do that. So I don't think that they're going to postpone it this time. I think the opportunity for that has passed, and at best they'll get a reduction of tariffs, because the tariffs are what's causing a modicum of inflation there. So Big Doug, was that a burp? And that's what I think. We'll see. We got a week and a half to see what's going to happen with that one. Meow meow. Goodness gracious. Thank you, Houston, for all you've done for us and our kitties. Buy a share of GME with this. Thank you, meow meow. That's very, very, very generous and kind. Thank you. Goodness. I am. Woo. And I'm not going to bounce my kitties. He's a live kitty cat, so he's not going to do a cat bounce. Okay. Catface546, Houston, why is the price of Sears holding 10 cents, actually 14 cents right now, doesn't fall within the bid ask of 20 cents? Thank you. I don't know. I mean, if you aren't an institution, all you can do is sell. You can sell only. And I don't know who is doing the buying on this expert market. Who is buying Sears? Who's like, you know what, guys? We're going to buy several 100,000 shares of Sears today. I don't know who's doing that. So I don't know why. I don't know how anything works in the expert market because I'm not an expert apparently, and they won't tell me. All I know is that I can close, and that's it. And I'm waiting for something bigger to happen with that. And that guy also asked, any idea when the Sears holding bankruptcy will finalize? I think their last scheduled ombudsman hearing is next month. And after that, it goes into some sort of mediation. But Sears is suing that real estate company who essentially stole $2.5 billion in real estate for $40 million. And they're saying, no, you owe us $2.5 billion, not $40 million. Get back here. And I don't know how long that's going to take. That's probably now we're looking at years down the line if there's a lawsuit happening there and there's no settlement. So it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while indeed. Nicholas Harris Houston, glad I made it early. When do you think institutions will pour into GME? I think we're seeing it now. We've seen lots of headlines in the past week of various funds and big institutions buying hundreds of thousands of shares of GameStop. I think they're slowly realizing, like, oh, not only is this even if this isn't a squeeze play, it's a long-term holder. That they're undervalued and they're worth more than what we're giving them credit for. So we may have to get more. Hey, monkey. What are you doing? Monkey butt. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. Come on. Get up there for everybody. Come on. Get up there. Oh, you are farty. Goodness gracious. What did you eat? You were Toots McGee over there. I want to get your own microphone so everyone can enjoy those. Hopefully they haven't been filling up the room with stinkers yet, but okay, farty dogs. Welcome to the Dog Fart channel. I got distracted. Okay, there was institutions. The institutions are buying right now. Lucky's in London. Still awake in London? Isn't it past your bedtime? It's a school night. Daniel Motes, Houston, I'm getting a large commission check. Good idea to put 80% of it in GME. Well, I mean, if you put 80% of it into the stock market, you would lose 90% of it. So you may as well, I'm not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but you may as well, if you're going to invest in anything, put it in something that's hedged against the rest of the market. If they go down, we win. So that's what we're all thinking is going to happen. And with the price below $100, it's as good a time as any, because we saw it hit 200 twice. It's just 6 weeks ago, so it can do it again. Lexi 10 Productions, Houston, Fidelity and Vanguard are supposedly prepared for Executive Order 14032, according to Boss Blunts. Is it really going to be a big deal? Fishware's mattress. I don't know. It's been hyped up. I would assume that if you are a firm or a fund or an institution or a bank or someone, you are aware that this can happen on June 3rd. So I don't understand why you would still hold on to these assets. Unless you are playing a weird game with them where you're picking them up for cheap, declaring their value as more than they are, and using that to keep margin calls at bay. But you won't be able to do that anymore after the 3rd, if it isn't postponed or whatever. But Yeah. And then Brandon asked, what is Executive Order 14032? That's the order that disallows the use of Chinese bonds from companies owned by the Chinese military as being counted towards assets under management that can be used as collateral for making deals for margin and getting loans and things like that. So that's what that's about. And yeah, so June 3rd, apparently, no more. Can't use Chinese military bonds as collateral. Ligma balls. My burrito fell apart because our tortilla was not thick enough. I do not have any chips or forks, and I am eating it with my hands. Is there a better way? No. There's not. Sorry. You made your bed. Now you lie in it. Yeah, big dog stream. Now I got to the point where I had to ditch because I got a phone call right at the beginning of the show. Big Dog did sing you guys a great song while I was away. Javi A. Houston, I'm a teacher, and I always wonder how many others that I am working with are holding positions in GME. If MOAS happens, will there be a work shortage, and how can the U.S. be sustained? Well, there's good news. Good news number one is that when surveyed last fall, 4% of Americans said they no longer had to work due to gains they had made in crypto. Now, all those people are going back to work because they don't have any money left. And we will take their place as the temporarily retired. So that's kind of the goal there. So we're just going to switch places. We're going to trade places with all those crypto bros and come out the other side. Josh Pep Pals, Tennessee. Happy birthday, Houston. Can you do me a favor and explain time dilation as it refers to space travel? Or re-explain it maybe. Suggested read for sci-fi fans. We are Legion. We are Bob of the Bobaverse. Okay. I've not read that one. The Bobaverse. The best example is the one I think Einstein gave about a moving train. So, this might be Houston has to draw something time. Where is my, oh, there's paint. Okay. We're going to go like that. We're going to go new. Don't save. I'm going to go here. I'm going to open paint. There we go. Can I get it real big? All right. So, Einstein used the idea of a train car. And you have a train car. And there's a little dude in the train car. And he throws a ball in the air. And the ball goes up. And the ball goes back down again. To his perspective, he just threw the ball straight up in the air. Sorry, the train car is moving. Train car is moving along a good clip. And to him, the ball just kind of goes up in the air and comes back down again. But from a stationary observer, you got a person out here who's watching this thing, and they see this train car move along. What they see is that the ball itself moves. So as he throws the ball in the air, it actually moves along in an arc. And the guy ends up catching it over here as the train moves along. And I just drew that person really poorly. That's a dude. So, the person on the train sees the ball go straight up and straight down. The person outside the train sees the ball travel with the train forever, however many feet it takes to throw the ball in the air. 80 feet, 100 feet, whatever. And this represents that the path the ball had to take is a much greater path to the outside observer than the person who is inside the train car. If you're on an airplane and you're flying along, and you roll a ball forward in the airplane. To you, it looks like that ball's moving, 10 meters a second, right? As it rolls along the airplane. And the airplane's flying along 600 miles an hour. To an outside observer, that plane is flying 600 miles an hour, and that ball is traveling an extra 10 meters per second outside of that. beyond that. And so what happens is, and there's a thing called L'Hopital's rule and Lorentz transfer equations and things like that. But eventually, when the speed gets greater and greater and greater and greater and greater and greater, the amount of distance that this ball has to travel when it gets tossed in the air, and like the difference in velocity between the observer who's watching everything and the person who's inside that environment gets so great that essentially it appears as though time slows down to this outside observer. That it takes so much longer for that ball to make this arc than it does for the person inside throwing the ball straight up in the air and back down again. That you start to have such a great difference in experience of time that it makes a difference as to when this train car would stop. That this person would have experienced less time than the outside observer. So we've proven it with some experiments. When you go up in the space station, you're flying around the Earth at 17,000 miles an hour. There's actually a time dilation, and people, when they come back from the space station, technically didn't experience as much time as those on the surface of the Earth. It's only fractions of a second, but we've taken atomic clocks, we put them up in space, and they no longer are in sync with other atomic clocks back on Earth when they've been orbiting, because they get just a minute amount of time dilation. So if you were going to travel the speed of light or near the speed of light, and you travel 50 light years away and back, for those on the ship, only maybe 2 years will have passed, and everyone else will have aged 100 years. So that's kind of the best version I can give you. I hope that works. All right. Okay. Oops. Come back. There. And there's my live stream. Okay. Does that work? I've got like a good slideshow I can do with that stuff, and a couple of videos I use with my students that maybe a little more poetic than what I just did. This dog is serious about barking. Houston, tech stocks crashing after hours. What? Oh, looks like you're getting some after hours sell-offs. Where did what's happening? Yep. Give me my list so I can see it. All right, Bank's sitting there. Disney's having a little bit of a drop. Twitter down, Snap down, Pinterest down, Facebook way down, Amazon down. So on my list, those are the big ones. Twitter, Snap, Pinterest, Facebook are the big ones. PayPal's down a little bit. Amazon's down a little bit. Facebook's down 7%, almost 8% after hours. Pinterest is down 14% after hours. Snapchat is down 30% after hours. Holy shit. Twitter is down 3%. Netflix is stable. All right. What institution, what fund was holding those four that is now being liquidated? They did not meet margin, I think, and they are being forced to sell. Hopefully they got puts. Goodness gracious. And looks like Bitcoin's dropping as well. Bitcoin's down 4%. Huh. Okay then. All right. Okay. All right. What's a lot? They've been down a lot. Okay, where was that? G-Funk YYC would be cool to see a monthly show of Houston and Friends where you tackle an interesting topic. That'd be fun to do. I also thought it'd be kind of fun, because there's like a few famous people that hide out here in Bainbridge to do like, I don't know, like a late night show behind a desk and just interview like some weird best-selling author or musician or whatever happens to live here and just sort of chit-chat with them. That might be, I don't know if I have the ability to do something like that, but I've got several webcams. There's a lot of possibilities out there of things I could do if I had the skill. if I had the skill and I had somebody to like change cameras and edit and do things like that. That's where the problem comes in, is that I don't have people to do that. Aaron Salentine, June 3rd squeeze. What do you think? We're after 12:01 p.m. Eastern Time. How long you think it will take for the spike in force covering for margin calls? Ooh. I don't know. I don't think it will happen on June 3rd. It usually happens a couple days later when they got to get all their shit together, is when it happens. You might have like 2 days, 2 trading days, and then the seriousness will happen. So maybe, so June 3rd is a Friday. So it'll be maybe Tuesday the 7th. If that executive order really has as much teeth as has been bandied about. So maybe Tuesday the 7th is when it really starts to gets real for them. How I Met Your Mo asked, your brother deleted all his tweets today. Any reason why? I don't know. He asked me not to talk about anything, so I'm not talking to him about it. So I don't know. I have no idea. But George did follow me on Twitter yesterday, so there's that. Sad Boy Incorporated, Houston, is it possible that UFOs have actually crashed in the past? Where do you think that might have been? Which country would have a craft? How much would you value each UFO's worth? Ooh. Well, I think it's possible they have. I think it's weird that like the Tic Tac UFOs, the ones that are like giant little tubes, look like Tic Tacs or pills, and change direction really weirdly and come in and out of the water, that those have been filmed by the U.S. Navy pilots off of like San Diego and a couple other places that filmed them a couple of times over the years. And their jets tried to follow them, but they just changed direction so fast that if there was a human being inside, that they would just be liquefied to the G-forces. But the Chinese military, the Russian military, and I think like, I can't remember which, like the Romanian Air Force have all encountered these things off various bodies of water. So there seems to be something weird out there that can fly in ways that we cannot. There's theoretical ways of flying like that, but no one's quite mastered it beyond like a computer model. I don't. How much would be worth? Pick a number, man. You got yourself an advanced alien technology. Pick a number. You will have either giant corporations, the U.S. government, willing to pay you for that material, or just take it from you. So it's probably worth your life, would be my guess, is how much it's worth. Bill Dudenhofer, Houston, is it possible for short hedge funds to hide the price of GME through dark pools when covering? I mean, that's what they've been doing. They've been covering but not closing. When it comes to closing, they're not going to be able to hide it because they're not going to be the ones doing it. They're going to be forced to close positions because someone will have taken the keys away from them and will be operating all of their assets for them. So they won't be able to be like, oh, we're going to hide this stuff in dark pools. Once they lose control of their assets under management, then there's no tricks they can do. It's just going to be straight up buy this stock, close this position, buy this stock, close this position, sell off all of our assets. Don sees your shed. I'm sending you a book. It's a scholarly work, culture studies, philosophy, musicology on the Giants Flood album. Okay. I'll read it. I'll read all about They Might Be Giants Flood. It's a fantastic album. Any news on Bed Bath & Beyond? Not that I know of. Online Entity, was your birthday last Wednesday and that's why you bailed on us? Nope. Wrong again. Okay. Let's claim whistle purpose to go on the plane last, let everyone else bumble around, and I always take an aisle seat. That's also, like, great. I mean, it kind of sucks if you have, like, carry-on bags and you get on the plane, there's nowhere to put them. You're like, oh. Every single overhead bin has been taken because they charge for checked bags now. But, yeah, if you're on the plane last, you can be like, well, I could sit in my normal assigned seat, or I could just take this empty one right here. Sometimes, like, empty row. It's kind of nice. Scott Paul in Houston. Now that GME Wallet is active and the board of directors have given guidance on the June 1st earnings meeting, do you think announcement at June 2nd meeting will drive a lot of attention to the NFT marketplace or the wallet or both? Yes. Yes, it will. Now what GME needs to do is they need to get this wallet info out to the folks who aren't investors. They need to start seeing it front and center in television commercials, gaming websites. They need to get it out there so that they use a marketing drive and not just rely upon us being the word of mouth. It needs to get in front of folks in other ways. Luke, Houston, what is your favorite character to play in multiplayer mode in Goldeneye 64? Oh my gosh, it's been 25 years since I've played Goldeneye. What characters? You had Bond, obviously. You had Nigel, was that his name? The British bad guy that was the Cossack. Monkey, help me out in here. Hot lady, other hot lady, played by Famke Janssen, who'd like squish you with her thighs. Who else would have been there? I think you'd also play as like other Bond characters throughout the past, like Jaws and stuff, couldn't you? Top Hat. I don't remember. I don't. I just remember the one thing that really pissed me off about Goldeneye is like you couldn't jump off of things. That you like get to the edge of a wall and then you couldn't go anymore. But like I want to drop down on the ground, and then you get shot while you're being frustrated. You couldn't jump on the ground. Project Sun, you see Q1 fiscal results on the 1st. Spicy. Yep. They're doing a twofer. Scott Paul is a shareholder meeting to announce the share creation vote results and only those results. Probably, unless they have some other news they want to get out there for everyone. That's probably the likely thing. So, in Project Sun, we do need the price higher before a split because the higher the price, the better for everything. Liberty Bibbity, Houston, you really aren't going to talk about MMAT anymore? I'm not going to talk about MMAT anymore unless I get a green light from the Broheim. Cauliflower Culkin. Cauliflower Culkin. What? Where do you guys come up with this? What's the best possible outcome that serves the best interest of GME shareholders coming out of the June 2nd meeting? I mean, voting yes on authorizing more shares and an announcement as to when that date of record and the dividend will be issued. I can't think of anything else beyond that of what we'll be waiting for, unless they've got something special and devious planned for us. But that's all I can think of. I can't think of anything else that we're waiting for on that. Aaron Salentine, Metamaterial has 9 trading days of green day trading while the market is crashing. Looks like the shorts are going long. Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about it anymore, but yeah. Yep, more people now noticing that big tech crash after hours. Lost Waves, up with your boy pal. Is he breaking the market when he speaks tomorrow? What is he supposed to talk about tomorrow? Oops. J Powell. May 24th. Speech by Powell on restoring price stability. So he's going to restore price stability. I don't think that can happen until the plunge protection team gone. I don't think it can happen until interest rates have gone to stupid heights. I don't think it can happen until the market's crashed. So we have quite a ways to go until we'll have price stability. And we still have huge issues with supply chain and energy. Natural gas isn't moving around like it should. Gasoline and diesel aren't moving around like they should. So we've got time. We've got a lot of time until price stability is going to happen. And excuse me. Consumer demand isn't going to drop enough to really affect prices until, quite frankly, people are broke. Somebody messaged me last night about throughput at Amazon warehouses dropped from 75,000 units an hour to 50,000 units an hour because the orders aren't coming through. So that could be, we could be seeing a slowdown in consumer spending. That's a big drop. That's a 30% drop in consumer spending for those warehouses if those numbers are true. Wonder what Bezos is going to do about that. You don't want to see 30% drop in sales of anything when you are like the biggest mover and shaker in the entire world. Just methods. They can just take a bunch of puts to stay afloat from the crash. What will ever force them to close? I don't know. I don't know if they can buy enough puts to protect them from the crash itself, because it takes a lot of cash on hand to buy that many puts, and they are encouraged to turn that cash into assets under management. So they keep making cash and buying stocks that are failing. Dog hair on my tongue at all times. You creature. You freaking creature that is just, there's so much. How did more fur end up on me? What is up with you? I don't get it. Brand new pants. Now just dog fur. Look like Chewbacca down there. Yeah, I mean, they're probably hedging. They're probably hedging with those puts. But every time they have one of these dead cat bounce days, maybe their puts are suddenly not worth what they were. I don't know. Well, I just don't think they can. I don't think they can hold out forever. They might be able to do a little bit here and there. Oh, you fuzzy dog. You are a good dog. Okay. James Cam, Houston, ever been rock hunting in the UK? And if so, where are your favorite place to find precious rocks? I've never been rock hunting in the UK. I've only ever been to London. So I haven't had a chance to leave London. London's just paved, so all you can see is London things. But I have a big drive. I'd love to get to like Cornwall and Newcastle and go up into Scotland and go sniping for gold and Scottish canyons and stuff. But in the future, someday, maybe if I sell my TV show, we'll see in June if that's not a possibility. Just go do a show there. Just go talk about all these old school guys that created modern mining technologies, right? And modern prospecting. Amy R. Houston, I love your show. Thank you, Amy R. Is that a... Oh, it was a party hat. That was a cat from back here. I need my eyes. I need to get my new glasses. I've got my pairs of glasses. I need to get somebody who has an open appointment to do my prescription at this point, because these suckers have maybe weeks left in them before like a lens just falls out. Okay. Hey, I'm only 50 minutes behind the chat, so we're getting there. That's the UK question. Scott Paulin says there's cool fossils, Jurassic Coast, Corf, and Dorset. Excellent. Mark Kilpatrick, if you're correct, if Fidelity will not let me buy Sears. If you turned your dog's bed around, would he face the other direction? What do you think, Monkey? Would they know? Would you notice? Oh, it's remnants of a stuffed animal down there. Oh. Watch out. 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 Oh, there's also bones. Found some bones and a piece of Tupperware I used for gemstones. And a camera mount. Hey, things are looking up. Oh, Monkey, you ruined the experiment. You ruined the experiment, Monkey. There. We found things. Get back up there. Come on. Get back up there. Nope, same direction. There we go. Okay. Bot flies. That's another example of creatures that have to implant an egg into you to get out. Pregnant with a bot fly. My old roommate got a bot fly when he was down in Ecuador and he tried to raise it. It didn't last. It was disgusting. They're huge. But we couldn't find anything that they would eat to survive. Oh, the tag's still on the pants? I thought I tore that off. Oh, do I still have... Do I? Oh, yep, still on there. Thought I got rid of that. I can use this to get the dog hair off my leg, though. How about that? Look at that. See? Yeah, I get the dog hair off there. Alright. Dude, get done shitting, please. The house is just... Everybody, it looks like polka dot. Looks like my entire house looks like a Dalmatian. Because at a distance, there's just little black dots all over the place that the vacuum cleaner is just struggling to deal with. This dog. Okay. Lily White 92, welcome. Welcome aboard, watching live. Scott Pullen, has there ever been speculation the GME marketplace would not be for game NFTs? I think the idea is that the marketplace can be for crypto, NFTs, and in-game, your downloadable content, your DLCs, and game purchases, and then you can trade that stuff around. There's also been talk that you will be able to essentially carry characters over from one game to another. So if in like Fortnite, I don't know, you wear a purple spandex leotard, you could transfer that character over to your Call of Duty and be the same purple latex leotard person on that game as well. So that, your avatar would follow you from game to game and you went to play some sort of in-game avatar, which I think would be amazing if like some big schlong dude from Cyberpunk 2077, whatever, could come over to Fortnite in a black leather daddy club outfit and keep playing. Why not? That'd be hilarious. Okay, reverse repo question. Oh, it's Queen Victoria's birthday in Canada. Not sure so I celebrate that, but that's the reason. Oh, yeah, we don't celebrate the Queen's birthday here. When is Canada going to get rid of the Queen as their head of state and take back all the Queen's owned lands that should be Canadians? That's one thing I've always wondered. Oh, that's my microphone is up way too high. It's weird. They've been talking about Australia getting rid of the Queen as head of state. So that could be happening soon. Barbados did it. Didn't Jamaica do it too, Monkey? Did Jamaica do it? I thought they did it. Who else been talking about getting rid of the Queen? I think there's no reason to have some old lady whose entire claim is that God said, you got to be queen, be in charge of your land and live thousands of miles away. I don't get it. I don't get royalty. Does not make sense to me. On the entity because Queen Victoria started the process of giving power of the monarchy to the government. Ah, that's why she's celebrated. So they celebrate her like, you'll give us power and we'll give you a holiday. That seems like a trade. Kyle Banta, what make and model would you recommend for home telescope to decently view Jupiter, rings, and nebulas? You don't need much to see the rings of Saturn. You can do that with a pair of binoculars. But to get really good clear views, something larger than 4 inches. You can see pretty well with like an 8-inch Dobsonian, which is a nice big mirror. They'll be pretty cheap because Dobsonian telescopes are quite cheap. Where it gets pricey is when you get auto finders and auto levelers and all the computer stuff involved. You can punch in the location of stuff and the telescope automatically find it for you. That's where it gets expensive, and those telescopes are, $5 to $20 grand. But if you're just gonna go by hand and like search for things yourself, a little Dobsonian 8-inch telescope should be fine. Liz Clayman says, Diamond Hands was on MSNBC last week, but you can find it on YouTube. Thank you. All right, I'll check that out. Oh, man, you reset, chat. Ah, gotta go back up. Where? Oh, there we are. Okay. Okay, Queen Victoria's birthday, going out there. Guitar stuff, Houston, how do we know the dividend will be 7-1? Also, doesn't the dividend split versus normal split mean that we don't get automatic proportional drop in price? We don't know what it's going to be. The rumor mill is that it's 7-1. And that would put us at about 500 million shares outstanding, which is about where AMC is, and pretty on par with most companies that are in the value range, the market cap range of GameStop. Now, does it mean an automatic proportional drop in price? I originally thought no, but then I found evidence that apparently it did result in an automatic drop in price for Tesla, but that the price rocketed right afterwards. That it the value of the individual share dropped, but not the value of people's accounts, and then it took up from there. So they did a 5-1 at what? They announced it like $40 and went up to 400, then dropped to below 100, and then went up to 1,000. Right, Monkey? Yep. She gave me. She nodded. She said yes. Patrick S. I noticed the VIX is no longer representing the movement in the SPY and that it's being lightly talked about in the news. Any thoughts? Well, I thought VIX ran into a problem with Barclays, who... Is it Barclays? Was it Lloyd's? One of those British banks is who made the VIX, and that they stopped creating shares. So I don't know if they ever got back to making them again. I think that they just were like, man, we're out. William Morgan, Amazon stock split stock split on the 3rd. Vote for Google stock split on the 1st, and the vote is on the 2nd. All right. Cauliflower Colton, when GME runs, how do we distinguish between a sneeze and a squeeze? I think a sneeze is when it hits 350 and collapses back down again. A squeeze is when it hits 350, keeps going, breaks past 500, breaks past 700, breaks past 1,000. If you get to $1,000 a share in GME, then you should be able to hear audibly from wherever you are in the world the sound of hedge funds imploding. So that is probably what you're looking for. Green-Eyed Bandit Elixir. Green-Eyed Bandit Elixir. What if GME plan is doing earnings right before shareholders meeting to dare hedgies to drop the price like they always do after earnings so people can buy shares even cheaper before the meeting? Why not? They announced some good news for Q1. The short hedge funds hammer the price down. We go and buy Friday morning, and then we get ourselves a shareholder meeting, and we have more deliciousness with which to eat our meals with. I like it. I like your thinking there, Green-Eyed Bandit Elixir. Green-Eyed Bandit Elixir. Mark Kilpatrick, Houston, is there a cutoff date for when we can buy GameStop shares and still qualify for the share dividend? Not yet. Not yet at all. They'll probably announce that either at or after the meeting. I'm still 40 minutes behind. I never catch up with you guys. Repo, would it make sense for AMC to reverse split? Would it not make sense because of their debt like a normal split? Also cause share count, correct? I don't know how many shares AMC is authorized. But if they were to do a reverse split, jack the price, and then do a limited at-the-market sale at that higher price, then they could probably pay off a lot of debt. That might be their best move. Because, if they authorize, at the current price, they have to authorize how many shares? They got $5 billion in debt. Calculator time. Let's go to the calculator. Turn off MS Paint. Turn on the calculator. So current price is what, $12? They got $5 billion in debt. So they have to issue 416 million shares, essentially doubling the share count. But let's say they did a 5-to-1, right? They did a 5-to-1 reverse split, so that those 500 million shares become 100 million shares. And the share price is $60. So at $5 billion now, divide that sucker by 60, and they only have to increase the float by 83 million shares, so there'd be 183 million shares in existence, and they'd pay off their debt. That is probably a much wiser move for them, especially if they start offering at the money slowly over time to not kill the price right away. That's probably their best bet to pay off debt. But just issuing new shares without bringing down the numbers of the float is just going to make them awash in that debt spiral business, and you don't want to get caught in the debt spiral. Anytime you are a company that's publicly traded and your stock price has been hammered to shit, and the only way you can raise cash is by selling more shares, reverse split before you sell those more shares, because you're not going to make it otherwise. You're just going to sell more shares, dilute the float even more, and the price is going to get down to that seller pegged, and you don't want to be there. William Morgan, Day of the Walking Dead, zombie stocks begin to stir. Yes. Meow meow equals DFW. DFP. Oh, Meow Meow is a wonderful, wonderful, loyal viewer, and I appreciate him so much. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. Pickle Baiters also talking about liquidations after hours. Oh, my dad's calling me. I'm going to send a message, write a message. Oh, no, you make me clock in here. With show. Okay. All right. You can talk to me later. Dr. Zeno, when the squeeze happens, the gods will once again roam the earth. As good a prophecy as any, I guess. Okay. Oh, I'm still on the calculator. I forgot to turn off calculator. There we go. All right. Back to Houston and the empty dog bed. Felix, after Moas, I'm going to join a golf club to get the tips off the rich folks if there's any left. You might be able to buy a membership from someone who got completely liquidated when this all went down. So it might be even more satisfying. You can walk into that club and be like, yes, I have Gabe Griffin's old golf membership to this club. And they'll go, whoa. I bought it at a Marshall's auction. It was pretty sweet. I got it for a discount. Scott Pollen says, an expert market, I can offer you 10,000 shares at X, even though the price is Y. It's like OTC and steroids, Wild West, New Frontier. Well, it's as good as explanation as I can muster. Arm 2. What price are you going to sell your first GME shares, and what is the highest price you think it will reach? I want 6 figures for share number 1. Will I have the fortitude when I see all the zeros start appearing in my account to hold out for 6 figures? Especially if there's a split and all of a sudden I have way more shares than I planned on. I may be able to lower my sale price, but I don't really see much of a reason to, especially since their obligations have increased via such a dividend. But my goal is basically I want 50% premium on every share I sell. So I sell one at 100,000, next one's at 150. Sell one at 150, next one's at 225. Sell one at 225, next one's at 237.50. And so on, and just work my way up that way. Until the volume looks like it's at a point where the computers may be done buying, and I might be comfortable enough to be like, you know what, we'll sell the remainder of my shares at this incredibly high price, and then I can walk away. I'm totally cool with that. I don't need to be a billionaire. I don't know what I would do with $1 billion. As long as I can not have to worry about student loans, not have to worry about rent or bills or anything else, I'm pretty happy. Going for walks with the dog is my happy place. And being able to do that in exotic locations in the world, I'm okay with that. I don't need to be one of those guys that lost $75 million on Luna because I was messing around and playing with margin, and like I can live off of $75 million, and my scions, we can live off of that money in perpetuity. You know, dump that stuff into an annuity fund, an index fund, and that's $5 to $8 million a year that you're making off of that. When am I ever going to be able to spend $8 million a year? There's only so many houses you can buy and so many vacations you can go on. I don't plan on buying, nothing but Bugatti Veyrons every week. That doesn't really interest me. I kind of like tinkering in the wood shop and working on cars and, sitting in hammocks reading. That stuff isn't particularly expensive. So, I mean, some of you may want your private submarines and a harem of Bond villain ladies, but those can get expensive. But I don't need much more than that. Any car I get is still going to be a piece of crap that's gonna be constantly breaking. Because I like weird cars no one else ever bought, so there's no parts for them, and it just ends up being a nightmare. That's kind of my thing. Okay. Zachary Dalia, if they release an NFT dividend, where would it go? Your brokerage account? Do you need GME wallet? Thanks, dude. Probably need the GME wallet if they're gonna offer something. Because my guess is it would be offered on that layer 2. But if there is an NFT dividend, I doubt they're gonna announce it at the shareholders meeting. If they do, it might be sometime later after this whole dividend stock split thing happens. Because they're gonna keep going 1-2 punches after this. I wouldn't doubt if we start seeing a cash dividend again soon. Namely because they've expanded their warehouses, they've created a distribution network, they've done their branding, they have their online portal all set up. They're making, I wouldn't doubt if we'll see downloadable games coming from them again, as well as all these hardware sales that they have and toys and whatnot. And once they're done investing all that stuff, then cash comes in, and their cost to operate drops because they've done the investment in the warehouses and the increased products in those warehouses. B. Miles Houston, why don't you think Vanguard put a lot into its user interface for options? I don't think many brokerages put a lot of thought into the user interfaces for anything, except for maybe Robinhood. Robinhood was popular because it was the first trading platform that was easy to navigate, which is saying a lot considering that online trading's been around for 25 years, 30 years. Was it E-Trade was the first big one? I think it was E-Trade was the first one to do flat fees, and everyone's like, what? A flat commission for no matter how much I trade is $14.99? This is amazing, because everything else was like 3% at the time. So if you bought or sold, 3% of whatever it was went to a broker. And now you can do a flat trade for millions of dollars for $14 in commissions on the E-Trade platform. And then slowly Ameritrade and others joined that flat fee. And then Robinhood came along with a payment for order flow, and combined with a user interface that was simple and easy to use and straightforward, and people gobbled it up all the way until Robinhood screwed them over. So I'm really hoping that one of the big groups buys Robinhood and incorporates that graphic user interface into their apps, because the rest of their apps are just garbage. Like, what is... Someone came in a door. But a lot of those apps, you can't even see a graph of what's happening that day on some stocks. And if you touch the graph, it won't tell you the price it was at certain points throughout the day. Like, what? Who is writing this crap? Make better apps. Just, go pilfer somebody from Coinbase or Robinhood. Just steal them and have them make your apps better. Everyone got laid off at Robinhood anyway, so they're available. They're for hire. Okay. Maverick says, I get that, but what do you think the run-up will be when they have to start covering the multiplied short shares they are forced to cover? I honestly don't know what it's going to look like until it's gone crazy. We may see some action like that massive sell-off in the tech stocks we just saw happen after hours today. We may see something weird after hours where the price goes absolutely insane. And that's happened a couple times before with GameStop, that the price just went nuts after hours, and You know, so that's because someone had to buy it. Someone had to make a transfer of wealth there. But we probably won't get official news of liquidation until days after it's happened. The explanation, oh, that's why these stock prices went nuts, because somebody got liquidated. But I honestly don't know exactly what's going to look like until we're like, oh, we are in MOAS. Everything's been leading up to this moment, and we are here now. Yeah, that's what we're waiting for. MT Houston Way, the Chinese government told all high-level CCP cadre to sell out of their U.S. real estate war within 2 years. Possibly. I mean, everyone seems to be rattling sabers, and I don't know why everyone wants war so much. War is just so stupid. Why would you ruin the good thing you have going and being the exporter to the world by invading a tiny little country of 20 million people that just wants to be left alone off your coast? I don't understand what the benefit is. Oh, you got the island of Taiwan. Cool. You just destroyed your entire economy to do it. No one's going to be buying crap from China. They will never invest in your nation again. Your infrastructure just spent trillions of dollars building around the world, probably just got blown up and seized by the nations you built them in. Because, you know, if you got some sort of agreement that says, oh, we'll build you a seaport for $20 billion, you have to pay us interest on this loan, or else China gets on the seaport. Well, you go to war and that nation says, oh, we're against that war, so we talk to the United States and they're going to say, you can seize that port. We're never going to pay you back. That's what happened to a bunch of Russian interests. They just seized them. That boat's ours now. That building's ours. That bank is ours. So I don't see how China comes out on top in the end from this, or anyone does really in the end, and especially if it goes to something bigger like a nuclear conflict. Scott Pollen says, if GME gives an NFT dividend and some brokers simply will not deliver it to customers, when that happens, I'm not sure the next step, but it isn't good for brokers. It is not. And it does give the pretext for Ryan Cohen to go to the DTCC and say, hey, your system isn't viable. It's not working for me. Give me my shares back, which would cause the massive share recall. Because now they have their own platform in which they can trade their stocks. And hey, Big Dog, what's up, buddy? How's it going? Did you get your barking in? Did they appreciate that you yelled at them and ran down the stairs and tried to charge them? Is that what you're happy about? Sad Boy Incorporated, can you make a special MOAS intro? If you had to play a global game of hide and seek for MOAS money, where would you hide? Fiji, the library, Houston, Texas? Ooh. Making a MOAS intro sounds interesting. Except I'd be really scared to accidentally play it before MOAS happened, and then the cow would be out of the bag, and we're like, oh my god, MOAS is happening, and then it wouldn't be happening. It'd be like that fake warning that North Korea was about to nuke Hawaii. Never Cry Wolf. If I were to play hide and seek for MOAS money, where would you hide? That's actually a funny idea. That'd be a good scavenger hunt. Find Houston. Oh, I like that. I turn off all my GPS, and we do GeoGuessr with just me. You gotta find me. Ooh, that would be really fun. Can't do it while I got this big dumb idiot dog with me, though, because he wants to eat other people and dogs when we're out on walks. So maybe when my sister gets back from her tour at the Navy, that'd be a good game. A good global game for the YouTube channel. Is I could do a show outside in like a city park on a city street or something, and I don't know how long the show would be, but if someone could find me during my show, they would win the prize. I like that. Ooh. He just gave me all sorts of ideas for future shows post-September when I get this monster back to my sister. Monkey Butt could hang out with me, but this dog we'd be outside and he'd be like, well, I'm going to eat you. And then no one could come near me and win the prize. I like that. I like this sad boy. But where can I go hide and seek? I would go everywhere. It would pretty much have to be places where I get internet service, because I really couldn't be super remote to play such hide and seek, because what would be the point of doing that if I can't mess with you guys via the internet? But I think of a lot of pretty locations around the world that'd be really cool to go to and play hide and seek at. I like that. Monkey, do you like that? She also nodded yes. She's like, look at me, and she went, yes. Big dog, you're going to have to enjoy the internet like everyone else, because you won't be allowed to come, because you're a freakazoid. Yes, you are. Okay. Jonathan Houston, any chance of having a Discord channel? I so rarely remember to look at Discord. I think the last time I logged into Discord was like 5 weeks ago. I just don't remember. I don't really like the way Discord is set up. It is not conducive to the way my brain finds information. And I get these notifications. There's like 1,000 comments you've missed. I'm like, there's no way. It's like my school email. I have 50,000 emails in my school email account because they just send me everything that is, so-and-so retired from some department never heard of. Don't walk on the grass at this time of the week planting seeds. Like, I just don't. And I go a week without checking the email, and there's 2,000 more messages in there. And I'm trying to find desperately an email from one of my students. It's a nightmare. And Discord is kind of that way for me. My roommate loves Discord, and he spends all day yelling at people on the internet via some sort of Discord group chat. And this 2 hours of doing this show, talking, takes a lot out of me, man. I can't imagine also doing that on Discord all day too. What would Discord channel be any different than people sending me DMs on Twitter? I don't know. So it just seems like a lot of work, and that's where I've come to. Sorry. Okay. Oop. Dog. Oh yeah. There you go. Looking. Maverick, if I buy 7,000 shares pre-split and there's a 7-to-1 split, the stock is going to have to be provided by the people that sold it to me short. Yep. That would mean I would have a total of 42,000 shares, correct? No. You'd have more than that. Because it's not a split. In traditional sense. It is for every share you have, you get 7 more. So you would have, in the end, 56,000 shares? So you'd have a lot. And if you're over 1,000 shares, I would say at this point, you are probably going to be guaranteed to be a millionaire. Because the stock price can easily get to $1,000. 1,000 times 1,000 is $1 million. So anyone who's a holder of more than 1,000 shares, you have definitely made it for when MOAS hits at pretty much any level. I am not there. If I can get to, if it's a 7-to-1 split, and I can get to what, 140 shares? Let's go to the calculator. Let's calculate it up right now. Okay, so come here. So 1,000 shares divided by 8. That'd be 7 for 1. So you get 125 shares. So you get, so if you're at 125 shares and there's a 7-to-1 split, you will be able to get to 1,000 shares. So that should be the goal. If you want 1,000 shares, $1,000 a share is $1 million. So that should be like bottom tier goal for everybody. 125 shares if the split is 7-to-1, which we don't know. We honestly do not know. They'll probably announce that stuff either at the shareholders meeting or shortly thereafter, and that's all speculation on our part. So whatever the goal is, whatever the split is going to be, my goal is going to be to own as many shares as post split to get me to 1,000 shares. That's what I'm shooting for. All right, it's 4:11. I got 19 minutes left in me here. I'm only 50 minutes behind the chat. Okay. Oh, good. People are having conversations with each other, so I can scoot past that. Odd job. That's the not top hat. Odd job. That's the word I'm looking for. Dang it. Yes, I'd totally play odd job. Phil Bill, Houston hedge funds are trading Chinese bonds at 10 cents on the dollar, using them as collateral at dollar face value, each as they've withdrawn from the ratings agency and no one is stopping them. Yes, there's a lot of shenanigans, and my guess is a lot of a loan fraud happening as a result. Houston, did you ever catch Pac-Man fever? I was pretty young when Pac-Man was huge. We didn't. There was a Pac-Man game on one of the ferry boats, but the one I played more than anything was Lady Pac-Man at the old Kellen Drive-In as a kid. It was like a local little drive-in restaurant. They had Lady Pac-Man, and so I played Lady Pac-Man there. And Lady Pac-Man is the exact same game. They just gave Pac-Man a bow. And I think the reason why is that it was their way of getting around copyright issues. Is that it was a third party that created Lady Pac-Man, and they didn't. And as long as they gave Pac-Man a bow, they didn't owe royalties or something. I mean, I might be wrong. Someone maybe will correct me on that. But I'm trying to remember. There was a documentary I saw about the video game industry on Netflix or something a few years ago, and they talked about that. But same game. And then I had a friend who had this crazy shirt that was LEDs, and it would play. You could play Pac-Man on his shirt. It was pretty crazy. That was also a few years ago. But no, I did not catch Pac-Man fever. Oh, Houston Wade, do you know about the theory that says there is a ledger of sorts at the edge of supermassive black holes? I think what you mean is that everything, according to our outside perspective, gets frozen at the event horizon of a black hole. That we can never live long enough to watch something fall into a black hole, because as they accelerate towards the speed of light, their image essentially freezes in place, and we would wither and die before we ever saw them fall into the black hole. That is sort of what they mean by that. So you should theoretically be able to get to the edge of an event horizon or close to it and peer in and see everything that's ever fallen in kind of frozen in time. Hypothetically, we've not been close enough to one yet to see that happen. But if you were like, mutinied on a spaceship and they told you to walk the plank into a black hole and you got vented out of an airlock and sent in towards a black hole, as you would fall, you would begin, and you start to accelerate towards the speed of light, you would literally, if you looked out, watch stars be born and die in the time it takes you to fall in the black hole. Because as you're accelerating faster and faster and faster, time is dilating. So you're looking at time happening fast for everyone else, and everyone looking at you is watching time slow down for you. So you could probably watch that ship try to sit there and watch you fall into a black hole, just rust away and turn to dust or something in space over time. It's pretty crazy. And then the light bending around the black hole, because light will bend with orbits, is it will all bend around the black hole and eventually hit you in the face. And you will watch the whole of the universe essentially end in the time it takes you to fall in that black hole. The math on it's weird, man. Very weird. So, if you want to go out with a bang, let's say you have a terminal cancer. You've got weeks to live, right? And you can do the Jack Kevorkian device, or you can do, the euthanasia that someone would offer you in Washington State, Oregon, or like the Netherlands or something. And, it's your time. You're like, I'm living in so much pain. I don't want this anymore. Or you have the option of being thrown into a black hole and get to experience the end of the universe, before you got spaghettified on the other side of the event horizon, dude, I would pick that 100% of the time. Talk about going out, seeing everything else go with you at the same time. Boom. That's how I'd want to do it. I'd want to be thrown into a black hole if I were terminal or something. And consider this my living will, that if I'm terminal with something and the technology exists and I've got days or weeks to live, throw my ass into a black hole, please. That's what I ask of you. And so someone's taking notes right now about that. So, you know, I'm going to hold you to it. Freethinker McJones, sup Houston. Well, sup is when two angles are added together to equal 180 degrees. That is a supplementary angle. Dino C, do you think there could be a run in the markets on June 3rd on the executive order? Either that or the following week, perhaps. Snap on the way to a penny stock. Does anyone even use Snapchat anymore? I have an account, but it's just because my best friend and I used to just jokingly send each other pictures of our dogs pooping. And it's been 4 years since I even touched that thing. I don't know. I think, the novelty of being sent random boobs has kind of vanished. And I don't know. Does anyone even use it anymore? Monkey, you haven't used it. You haven't done a pooping Snapchat in a long time. Okay. All right, how far? Okay, I managed to get, and the reset. It's like I managed to get a little ways ahead here. And now I'm at 3:50 p.m. So I'm only 27 minutes behind because the chat just reset. Girk's BlackRock Insider. Houston, do you know how NASA organizes a party? They plan it. Oh, that one's good. That one's good. Captain's log. Stardate 2522. We circled the toilet looking for Klingons around your anus. Squamps. I noticed the borrow rate in GME Fidelity is like 7%, other brokerages like 16% stuff. I feel like transferring to a brokerage with a higher borrow rate would be neat. I don't know if it matters. Because like the cost to borrow has been crazy insane. Have you guys seen how many stocks in the last 2 weeks have had cost to borrow rates in the hundreds of percent? That is really weird to me. Like, why would dozens of stocks all have their cost to borrow suddenly be hundreds of percent? Bro, I make these podcasts so I can listen in car journeys. Ah, crap, I forgot the record button again. I do need to make these podcasts. Sigh. I keep forgetting to hit the record button. I can record it, transfer it into audio, and then post that audio, and I just don't remember to do that. Ever. It's right next to the start stream button is the record button. It takes like an hour to render it into audio, though. But it can be done. I can do it. I need to do it. Project Sun, I've seen Brewster's Millions. I could spend all the millions. That's a great movie, by the way. Watch Brewster's Millions if you have the chance. And The Toy. Those are might be my two favorite Richard Pryor movies. Okay. William Morgan is not No, William Morgan's not a fudster. How do I? Oh, William Morgan, I'm sorry. You didn't need to be deleted on here. I forget how to get back to this and bring him back. Got to go here. I got to go there. I got to go scroll down here. Scroll down there. Click on that. Go Control F. Alright, it has been banned. Just put on timeout. I'm sorry. William Morgan, I'm sorry. Okay, what was that? Go back to here. Go back to the chat. King Bima. Houston, what's your honest opinion on AMC squeeze potential? I'll be honest, it gets lower every day. I don't see things out of AMC that make me go, oh yeah, they're doing what it takes to make this go nuts. If we were a year ago, first week of June, a year ago, I was thinking, oh crap, AMC is what's going to trigger this thing. They are going to be the catalyst for MOAS, and it's happening this week. And then they sold 11 million shares in the dark pool to Mudrick, who then dumped them all on the market immediately and killed that rally. If AMC had gotten to $150 a share, we would have MOASed. Guaranteed. The market cap on AMC would have been so insane that anyone who was short against them would have been liquidated. There was no way they would have met those margin calls. And Mudrick saved them by dumping all those shares in the market when they did. That it essentially killed, probably shaved 2 or 3 days off of that rally. And AMC issued those 11 million shares through the dark pool at an undisclosed price. So that's not what you do when you're thinking about us. If you're going to offer shares, you offer at the money, slowly, over days, weeks, or months. And that's what you do. You don't dump them all at once at a fraction of the price you could get during a giant price rally that you're having at a discounted price. That is just the worst possible thing you could do. Don't do that. Ever. Do like what GameStop did. You announce, hey, we're going to sell some shares. It's going to be at the market through lit exchanges slowly over the next couple of months, and we'll tell you when we're done. And then they go 2 months, and they're like, all right, we're done. We raised $1 billion. You guys never noticed. That's how you do it. And AMC's an also ran at this point. Like, GME is going to be a catalyst, and AMC will run with it. But GME is going to be the big money one on this. Okay. That's chat just reset again. Okay. Let's get back here. Where is... All right, I got 6 minutes left. Let's see what we can do in the 6 minutes here. I went to where Big Dog was yelling again. Okay. Oh, Diaz made it. There we go. Right towards the end. Just in time again. Diaz, you got to follow me on Twitter. I make the announcements on Twitter like half an hour before I go. Otherwise, you got to wait for that bell to ring on your phone or something. Sub has the boss. Good evening from Toronto. Nice shirt. Thank you. It is a good shirt. Nice and green, except it's a little wrinkly. I need to iron the button zone a little bit on this one. Underneath it, I've got the all-important Death Clock t-shirt because, you know, Metalocalypse is rad. Just methods, I'd be super bummed if MOAS only hit like 3K. Which is why you want to be in the 1,000 share club, because if it hits 3K, then at least you got $3 million. And $3 million nets you $200,000 a year in annuities if you invest that. Not too shabby. Well, minus the taxes originally. So it might be like 150, 100 to 150. But, you know, $100,000 a year in passive income, that is a healthy retirement, if you ask me. Missy, I'm happy I'm not the only one who thinks Discord is just a hot mess. It makes me feel like a boomer. There's so many trading groups, but just too much. I've been added to 100 trading groups on Discord and just cannot participate. It's too much. There's too many subforums, too many rules. Someone will comment in some group and they'll use my name and I'll try to go, but they don't have permissions to comment in that subgroup, and I just go back to Twitter. Just talk with everybody on Twitter. Okay. Anthony Wilson, Houston, are you upset about Republicans smoking Dems this November? I don't know if they will, or if it's just everyone saying they will. You have to remember, old people are the largest voting base for Republicans, and we lost 1 million of them, especially in red states due to COVID. Florida has lost more Florida residents than Governor DeSantis's margin of victory in his last election. So, and most of those people were old Republicans. So I don't necessarily see it's going to be a clean sweep by Republicans in a lot of places. Now, there is a lot of new voting rules been passed, especially by Republican legislatures, that could, put the hand on the scale and make it harder for minorities and folks to vote, which I would hope the Supreme Court would do away with, but they seem to be complacent in that. I don't like the idea of winning because you limited people's ability to vote. I think if you can win because more people voted, then you actually support democracy. If you can only win because you kept people from voting, then you don't support democracy and you shouldn't be in charge. Remember, 5 of the 9 Supreme Court justices were nominated by a president who lost the popular vote. That's not how you run a successful democracy. You can't run a successful democracy with minority rule against a vast majority where 70% of people want Roe versus Wade kept in place, but you have a minority that's saying no. Because of our religious reasons, no. That is a recipe for revolution, doing stuff like that. And in one of those revolutions, the minority does not win. If you look at Rwanda, you can hack apart 800,000 people in a matter of weeks if you're angry enough at the minority rule. So I would rather not see stuff like that in the future. I'd rather we, be a democratic society where, you have rights that protect the minority, but those rights do not mean the minority gets to rule over everyone else. That's what I think. Land doesn't vote. One man, one vote. Get rid of electoral college. Get rid of the Senate. Turn the House into an actual proportional representation, where let's say that the smallest state. Let's say you add the ability to vote to all other territories. So, U.S. Virgin Islands, Saipan, Guam, American Samoa, Puerto Rico, etc. They all now get a vote. And the smallest one of those might be, let's say, U.S. Virgin Islands. I think it's like 130,000 people. That 130,000 people becomes one representative. And for every 130,000 people you have in each state in the union, you get one representative. And the minute the next census comes out, and let's say the population of U.S. Virgin Islands goes to 200,000 people, they get one representative, and then everyone else, their district just changed to one representative for every 200,000 people, and so on. Right now, what we have is you get one representative for every 400,000 people in Wyoming and one representative for every 800,000 people in California. That does not sit well with me because land doesn't vote. I don't think you should get particularly more power to vote because there's more sagebrush where you are. That is not how democracy is supposed to work. So get rid of the Senate, turn the House into an actual proportional democracy, and there you go. In 2000, I wrote a paper about if we kept the Electoral College, they made it a proportional Electoral College, because there are some weird things. Like you can have a large state like Texas with 25 million people, and 30% voter turnout, and you can have a larger state like a mid-sized to large state like Illinois or Michigan that will have half the population but 3 times the voter turnout, and they have more voters in the election and they get less electoral votes. Florida regularly has more people vote in Florida than in Texas, but Texas gets more electoral votes than Florida. So I would say if we're going to keep the Electoral College, you tie it to voter turnout. So if you've got 54 electoral votes and 40% voter turnout, you only get 40% of your electoral votes. That way you would push people to do get out the votes, because you don't want your state to have less power in an election than other states because no one showed up to vote. And if you have a state that's violating the Voting Rights Act and making poll taxes, lots of weird things that they did in the past, and you kept part of your population from voting, you would lose power in the government as a result. So I think that'd be a pretty great system. Fern Marquez. Be big. Will the lenders call back short positions and not pay taxes on the dividend? I don't know if it's too late for that. I think they had to do it by the 18th. So now the dividend apparently is going to come out on the 27th, which is this Friday? The 27th? Yeah, it's this Friday. I think it's too late. I think they've made whatever play they're going to make, and now they're stuck with it. I don't know. If anyone else knows better than me on that, please chime in. I honestly can't say otherwise. Okay. I'm past 4:30 here. You got me on a mini rant. Yeah. Okay. Is that it for the day? Monkey butt? Big dog? You guys ready to go for a walk? You're farty, so you definitely need to go for a walk. You've been You've been tooting like crazy. So I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna go eat a barbecue at my dad's house, and I'll catch you folks on Wednesday, right? Yes. And there'll be a couple Twitch streams tonight. Maybe I'll do a Twitch stream late tonight. We'll see. Okay. That we got. Oh, and Fern Marcus also threw one more super chat in there. Be big. Will lenders call back the shorts not to pay taxes on the dividend? I would think that they would have done that already before the date of record. If they called back, and there should have been so many callbacks, but we didn't see that. We didn't see any price action representing that. We saw a couple of spikes after announcements, and the thing kind of settled back out again. There, Fern Marquez. So I don't think we're gonna see it happen. Okay. We're gonna do outro, and then I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pound.